Welcome to yet another episode of Sex Morals. Today we're going to be looking at a very important topic, sex layers. And we're going to be looking at the demerits of sex, and then the right atmosphere for sex.
Do you know that sex has layers and there is a right time and environment for sex? Join us as we explore this topic. Welcome to Destinedstars talk show. My name is Anna Inkiruka.
And my name is Aaron Agachi. Welcome viewers. Today with us on the show are two distinguished personalities that we trust will be able to do justice on the topic of sex layers today. And we're so honored to have them on the show. Mr. Emmanuel and Mrs. Emmanuel Obicha. Welcome. They are both relationship coaches, and they host a show on ASO Radio 93.5 FM called School of Marriage. And they are also very prominent in terms of handling matters that have to do with sex matters, and then of course issues that others across the marriage environment. And it's our pleasure to have them today in the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us, Aaron and the entire team. It's a pleasure being on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, delving right into our discussion today, what are sex layers?
All right, thank you very much. You see, sex layers help us to understand that sex is not just at one layer of life or just a physical activity. Sex layers generally talk about the different levels of connection, different levels of intimacy connected to sex. Now, we have the physical layer, which many people are aware of. But beyond the physical layer, we also have the mental level. We have the emotional and spiritual level. So when you are having sex, you're not just having sex as a physical activity, but there are different levels, different layers, which is involved in having sex.
And all these layers are very important because it talks about the connection you are having or making with this person you are having sex with. So it's very important that when you're having sex, all this come to play in your mind. So you know that you're not just connecting with this person on a physical level, you're also connecting with the person on the emotional and the spiritual, and then the mental, every area of life that is so important. You're getting connected to this person with.
So it's just deeper than what we think. I think for the sake of our viewers, we should delve into these matters. We're talking about the physical layers and then the spiritual layer, the mental. I think we should talk about it because it's not just mentioning it. What does it mean to be connected with the opposite sex mentally?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be connected with the opposite physically? And how does this whole thing play? Because these are the information we really want to get out of the conversation.
All right, physical, let's start from the known to the unknown. Many of us are aware of the physical connection, which has to do with the touch, holding hands. I don't know if my wife would also want to delve more into that. The physical layer happens to do with what you're doing with your physical body. You and your sex partner, what are you doing with your physical body? And there are different levels of intimacy. You could just start by enjoying each other's presence, each other's company, your physical presence, and at the moment you just want to hold hands, and you
which
feel
seems very harmless
and innocent,
at first, yeah.
and before you know it, you start progressing from holding hands. You are being connected. You just want to have a short kiss, just want to give a good night peg, and from there it's progressive. One thing with a relationship with the opposite sex, especially when you are romantically involved, is that every time you want to go deeper, you want to go further, and before you know it, you start having your deep kissing. Before you know it, genitals are being aroused. You have petting, heavy petting, and whether you like it or not, once you get to that level, the body keeps asking for more, and it ends up in the sexual intercourse, which has to do with the penetration of the female sex organ by the male sex organ. Sometimes it doesn't just happen at once. It starts from stages, connection physically, and that's why young people listening, if your intention is not to end up having sex. You have to set boundaries, because there is a progression which happens in the physical level. Now, remember we said that when we're talking about layers, one key point we should understand is that sex is not just physical. We've just described the physical level. Maybe before I go further, I don't know if my lovely wife wants to add to that.
I think I'd love to hear you.
No, it just to add a few things to what you said, because I think you really opened it up clearly. Talking about physical connection, it has to do with what you can see, what you can touch, what you can, and like you said, it graduates. And for young people, you have to really take note and be very conscious of the fact that sometimes you might not really mean to do something, but when you don't set boundaries, you find yourself delving into that, going gradually, and before you know what, you get to a no return point. Because sometimes most people, when they finish having sex, they regret and then they wish they had not even started anything. But it all starts from where you start seeing the person and admiring or wishing that you see. There are people who just see a lady and then they've already imagined her naked and on the bed. So sometimes this is where it all starts from, physical touching and doing all those physical things. It's very important that for young people who are not supposed to be having sex, they watch that boundary and make sure they keep boundaries in between them physically.
We've created the awareness that these layers exist, right? So the next thing is, what's the right atmosphere? Now, talking about young people and the act of this, what's the right atmosphere? When is the right time to, have this entire picture about the layers and put it in good use? Let me start with you.
Okay.
Well,
I'll say the right atmosphere is simply the context of marriage.
Most religion, right, values the abstinence of sex before marriage, and I think it's advisable, something we should advocate for. But I want to ask a question, because we're talking to young people here, and I'm sure married people will listen to us. My curiosity here is, there are some persons, especially in our generation, where I feel we are sexually active, in that kind of information that we are privy to, was not like it was before. The use of digital aspect, there's social media everywhere. One way or the other, they get to know. Now, there are youth who are already getting into this act, undoubtedly. What would be your words to them, having to balance this layer of sex? They're already into it. You can't shy away from that. So how do you help them?
Yeah, you're right. There are people who are already into it, and maybe it's as a result of maybe they didn't have enough information about sex and what it really entails. Because if you know that when you're having sex with someone, you're not just having sex with that one person, you are having with all the people they have had sex with, and that means you are whatever they had in them. If they had mental issues, they had sicknesses, they had different spiritual issues, you are also taking a bit of them, you are also taking a part of them. So I feel some people who get involved in sexual activity before marriage is as a result of them not fully getting the knowledge, not being fully aware of the consequences of having this premarital sex. So the truth is that yes, people have had it, but if you've had it before marriage and you are now getting a better understanding and you're understanding better that I shouldn't have had this. The beautiful thing with our God is that He's a merciful God and He's always ready and willing to give us a second chance. So now that you know, this thing is beyond physical level, it has to do with so many things. Now you can take make a decision, yes, to turn away from that lifestyle. You can decide that, even if I've had it before, I won't continue. I know people who have had it as a result of they just wanted to explore, they just wanted to, but then after having it, they stopped having it. Yes, so you can actually make a U-turn and stop having it, so that what God has for you, He can also, by His mercy, you can still enjoy that blessing from God.
All right, I just want to add that apart from those who might have willingly had sex, we may have some young people who did not have sex by their own choice. They were abused. They are survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. I want to tell you that even though you were not responsible for what happened to you, you can take responsibility from now and turn a new leaf. And we also want to encourage viewers that sexual and gender-based violence is an issue we are facing in our society today, and we shouldn't keep quiet about it. There should be a reporting mechanism. Try to speak out. You never can tell who you're saving by exposing a perpetrator. Your story can save someone, and the fact that you're surviving it and overcoming it can also help someone who has experienced it overcome. So I just want to read a scripture, and maybe if possible another one, talking about sex. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. I want to read verse 16 from the Message paraphrase. Just to support what we said earlier on, that sex is not just a physical act. What does the Bible say about it? Since this is a faith-based show. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, I will read from verse 16 from the Message paraphrase. It says, "There is more to sex than mere skin on skin. Sex is as much spiritual mystery as physical facts. As written in the scripture, the two become one." Since we want to become one with the Master, we must not pursue the kind of sex that avoids commitment and intimacy, leaving us more lonely than ever. The kind of sex that can never become one. There is a sense in which sexual sins are different from all others. In sexual sin, we violate the sacredness of our own bodies, these bodies that were made for God-given and God-modeled love, for becoming one with another. That's what the Bible is saying. In summary, that sex is not just physical, it's a spiritual mystery. So you can choose to keep yourself. It's possible. God can give you the strength. Don't let anyone deceive you that everyone is doing it. There are people not doing it. Just make the informed decision. No, when you're ready, ask yourself, are you ready to give the whole of yourself, spirit, soul, and body? The mental, the emotional consequence, and the spiritual, including the social consequence. Do you understand that? And you are ready, you feel you're matured, not just physically, because some people feel, I'm physically matured, I'm of age, I have the body, I have the shape, my private parts and organs are developed, I can have sex. No, it's not just physical. Are you matured mentally to handle the consequence of sex? Are you matured emotionally? Are you matured spiritually, to face the consequence of having sex with that partner? And another question is, that partner the right partner? And if you feel that's the right partner, is it the right time? And are you in the right state of mind? These are questions you should ask yourself before engaging in the act of sex.
So that's wraps up another edition of Sex Moms. I'm sure you've been able to gain one or two things from today's episode. And don't forget, since we're in the season of love, there is a right time and environment for sex. And if you still have any pressing questions in your mind, feel free to reach out to our guests, either through the organization First Initiative or through their radio program, which airs on After Radio every Friday by 5 p.m. I'm sure they will be glad to answer any questions you might still have.
And also a big congratulations to as many of you who have made the decision to follow up. I think it's a beautiful journey for you to go, and then to give you the opportunity to know more about what we're talking about. Don't forget to identify the Bible in your church, and then start your faith journey from that point. And then congratulations, and excitedly enough, Destinedstars Initiative just launched her 2021 edition of our magazine titled The Faith Edition. You don't want to miss it. We believe strongly that in it there is a word for you. Don't forget, once you go, review the book, the magazine, and then, of course, don't forget to reach out to us with your questions again that will be displayed on our social handle will be displayed for you. giving your feedback, and then don't forget to share with somebody also that will be encouraged. Thank you for joining us. My name is Aaron Abachi.
And I remain Anna Kiwaka.